right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Chahakudash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful election to Rakatham. This is going to be a real quick lesson in transit. This is a land backing. I saw that Brother Tazayar did a video on this as well. And then the article popped up on my phone about the two Jakes in Mississippi that got hung. And they basically found their bodies, and now the Mississippi Investigation the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, which is the state investigators, are now looking at ruling it a suicide, which we already know what that is. That's symbolism for what time it is, which is civil war, all right, which is definitely brewing. And Esau has a great habit, historically, of roping you Jakes up into this, man. Remember, Esau in the Civil War, in the original one, Esau was fighting Esau for the right to keep your ass in slavery, and then he somehow convinced some of you niggas to fight, man, into that war, when knowing they was gonna fight anyway, man. They was gonna fight any goddamn way, okay? And he's doing this thing again, okay? He's causing all of the problems and all of the chaos, and he's roped you into it. I remember back in 2020, around when George Floyd, went to the spirit world, the symbol of the black fist, that they had, but they had it mingled with the rainbow flag, okay? And it may be in some other kind of symbology in it as well. But that became popular. I was seeing it everywhere around that time, okay? In summer of 2020. And why were they doing that? To get you into one side, so they're justified in attacking and killing you. But see, what Esau doesn't want to admit is that Edomites are the primary source of Edomite problems. Okay, it's not Jake. Jake is a menace. He'll do his dirt. He'll do some wickedness. Okay, and the 2/3 are wicked, but the vast majority of the problems come from their own people, and this is why the real reason why they got to take it out on somebody, man. All right. Yeah, Jake is wicked. He does his thing, but like I always say, we got drive-bys. Y'all got drone strikes, man. Jake pushes weight or sells cocaine in the hood, but then y'all have the whole pharmaceutical industry. Okay? Jake will be at perpetual war with rival gangs from block to block, street to street. But then y'all are at perpetual war, fomenting World War III with nuclear weapons on the table. Okay, so all of these subcultures in America, okay, is a subculture of white culture. Okay, they're the real enemy. Okay, so-called white people. Okay, it's not niggas the reason that deodorant is $12. Okay, and then you got to make a choice between health insurance and rent. Okay, but see, they want somebody to blame for all of this. Okay, and this thing is gonna ramp up. Okay. You're gonna start seeing more hate crimes, and they're gonna make the news, because even though Jake, does a lot of wickedness, there's always an Edomite there with the goddamn camera showing a spotlight on it. Now, somebody brought out the stat that 63 people die per day, every day in America. Why does the woman on the train, on the bus, get highlighted? Okay, who was an actor, obviously. That was coming out on her, Arena something. Why does that get highlighted? Because they're painting a narrative, man. Okay, as it says in Sirach 24 and 22, as the vapor of smoke go before the fire, so does reviling before blood. Okay, so just as much as fire precedes smoke, that's how locked in violence is behind reviling, which is harsh speech, which is there to denigrate you and demonize you. Okay, if once they start doing that, the violence is on the way. That's all that's left. What do you think Esau was doing in the 1800s and the 1700s? Okay, coming up with these like white and black, going into phrenology, the size of the skull, coming up with all of these pseudoscientists, because he's getting ready to put holy hell on you, man. Okay, and continue to justify this as he brought in more and more slaves, as he went around the world conquering, being the hammer of the earth. He's always had some kind of excuse. Oh, those people were savages. They didn't know about democracy and this and that. But what is it really? It's just that, an excuse to do the thing that they were already going to do, man. This is that precept in Daniel 8, where it says he will cause craft to prosper in his hand, okay, by policies, okay? He passed policies, man. When he went after Gad, you had policies, man. You had the Indian Removal Act, okay? You had the Monroe Doctrine, okay? Before that, you had the doctrines of discovery and the inter cetera, papal bull by the Pope. You know, when Columbus got back in 1493, the Pope Rodrigo Borgia, who's the father of the guy who everybody thinks is Jesus, so-called Jesus, okay, that Pope, he signed in 1493 the papal bull to declare the entire Western Hemisphere, okay, for the Europeans, the so-called Europeans, okay. So they wrote all of these things down first, man, okay. What do you think Trump has been writing down all of these executive orders? What do you think he's gearing up for while he's picking and choosing these events that are happening in the news? They're getting ready to roll, okay? And these Edomites are ready to string some of you up with no consequences. I was watching, I was at a shorty house, was that last weekend or so, you know, and she had on the Netflix documentary about Katrina, okay? And I lived in Baton Rouge at the time. You know, we lost power for a few weeks, but they went in detail and went in of what was going on down there, man. I didn't see everything. I heard things, you know, but you gotta see it, okay? There were niggas was going missing, man. Kids, children, okay? You had the at Algiers Point. That was a major area where those Edomites were just like, we just gonna start taking them out, man. Because see, in the midst of pandemonium and chaos, that's when Esau does a lot of his dirt, man. When he thinks nobody's paying attention, okay, that's when he does a lot of dirt. He causes distractions and chaos, and by the time all of the smoke is settled, this nigga's got all of the wealth. He's killed hella people, all right, and then he's convinced you that, well, that's just how the blocks fell. But he orchestrated the whole thing, you know. So Jake, you got to get out of that spirit, man, because like it says in I believe it's in Zechariah, okay. I will fill the bow with Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim, and I will fill them. I might be confusing them, but it speaks about the Most High filling the bow with Ephraim, man, okay. And Judah's no longer going to vex Ephraim, so that means that the northern and southern kingdom are going to link back up. Something's going to unify us, okay? And you got to ask yourself, how is that going to go down, okay? Because these Edomites, they don't need a reason to get up together. See, they've now fallen victim to their own philosophy and witchcraft, okay? And I'm talking about the whole color coordinated races, how they relegated 5 races to all ethnicities to 5 colors: white, yellow, red, brown. See, back in the day, they knew that they were Polish, or that they were Italian, or that they were German. Now they don't even reference that anymore. They fall into that they're just white. So they're all gonna get together, man, okay? Because now even Esau don't know his heritage, man. You know, all them records are gone, man, okay? Do you see how the system of Esau's white supremacist structure is all self-destructive? It eventually falls in on itself, man. All right, and that's a beautiful thing, because that's how the Lord wants it. Okay, that's how the Lord wants it. He wants this place confounded and confused, just like Egypt was before he hit it with plagues and then ultimately destroyed them. Okay, but this time you're going to be destroyed with fire. Okay, he destroyed the army of the Egyptians with water, similar to like how he drowned in the first world, okay, before the flood, okay, and he had a precursor of how America's going to go down with Sodom and Gomorrah with fire. So America's going to go down with fire, man, okay. That's how this thing is going down, you know, because America is one big Egypt, okay. So, you know, you got to pay attention to what's going on. We know October, the month coming up, it's a very demonic month. It's basically a high holy day, the whole month really, of Esau just doing some wickedness, man. So, you know, the brothers are, you know, putting the shows out and the videos out, but you got to take heed, man. Nobody can save you. okay? You may not be around a brother when all hell breaks loose, man, okay? We're one power outage away from race riots and all, because the tension is there, man. With this Charlie Kirk guy, the tension was there, and look at how easy it was for them to do it. They got plenty of people on the right, okay, that they can knock off and then blame somebody, okay? Now this time they happen to blame their own people, okay? And that's what it looks like. But don't forget, you got Trump still there, man. Who's to say something won't happen to Trump and it won't be a nigga that does it, okay? That's what you got to realize. See, we're in the hands of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. We're at the mercy of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, man. There ain't no way out of this by carnal or conventional means, okay? So understand what time it is. Pray, fast, and get your mind right, man. Because you're about to face the hardest test you've ever faced in the hour of temptation, man. But have the confidence to know that you've been doing the right thing, and the Lord is going to sustain you through that if you're sincere, okay? But you will have to go through this, man, okay? Don't listen to all of these other camps that are getting comfortable. You know, they kind of looking at the whole situation. They like kind of eating popcorn type vibe, you know? You can't get caught up into that. Pay attention to what the Lord is doing, okay? Because the Apostle Paul warned about men that are asleep, you know. And we are the children of the light. That's what we are called to be. So, you know, more news to come on that. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call hello Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rachakadah Shalom Kwam Yasharallah.